I'm here with Doug Zone, CTO of Metratech. Doug, welcome.
Hi, hi. Good.
Last time we got together, we had a long discussion about dynamic billing. What's the story with that? Has it moved forward?
Well, I think the concept is, is well developed. I think that the need for it has grown, and now with the people becoming more involved in the cloud and more services moving to the cloud, it's becoming more important. The idea of dynamic billing is that billing's responsibility is to help manage demand. And you need to manage demand on a service when you have limited capacity. And people have thought, well, the cloud has infinite capacity, but in fact, when you have a private cloud or a public cloud, you will eventually run out of capacity. And one way to take care of it is say, just give people limits. You can only use this much, you can only use that much. But really, the true approach has to be more economic. You have to price the service dynamically to keep people away from the service during certain times of day or certain types of consumption, so that the highest value consumer gets the highest value service, the lowest value consumer gets the service that's more adequate to their purposes. But what happens when you don't dynamically price is that the people who least value the service will consume the most. Because what they'll do is they'll consume the service to the point in which the quality degrades. They're happy with the degradation. But by the time it degrades, the people who really want to use the service have long left and gone elsewhere.
Think consumers will understand dynamic billing?
No, I'm not sure whether consumers will understand it. I think enterprises will understand it absolutely. In other words, if I'm a high-value consumer like an enterprise, I'm going to say, I will pay good money to make sure that you can guarantee service. The consumers will understand that, well, certain times of day and certain things, I'm just going to have to pay more for. And I don't really care anyways, because I'm not going to do it. You raise it another couple pence, make it a little bit more expensive. Okay, I won't download my films during the middle of the day. I won't use I won't be processing my videos at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll do it when it's a little bit cheaper, and they're perfectly happy with that.
In billing at the moment, is cloud starting to become effective, and are people looking at different ways of billing cloud?
Well, I think it's the typical revolution in the market. The product comes out first, and then people begin to figure out, well, how are we going to price this? How are we going to put a business model on top of this great service I have? It's obvious that cloud has great economics from the cost point of view. The CIOs go, I don't want that equipment. You put the equipment. I remove CapEx. I only have to pay OpEx. So from their side, the economics are absolutely crystal clear. Now the providers, they know, oh great, I provide you the service, but they're not sure how to get the good margins, the return on the investment in the cloud. You have to remember that a cloud service provider is now putting together a piece of architecture that's probably considerably more expensive than what he would have done if he did it for his own purposes. He has to make it multi-tenant, it has to be highly redundant, it has to be expandable, it has to be everything that a CIO would want in a perfect back office operation. So he now has to go and say, well, how am I going to make a return on that? And so part of the thing is well, you need to bill for it. But the billing complexities in the cloud are enormous, especially for communication service providers, because the model is not a model of I sell, you buy. It's going to be I sell, but I might be buying something from somebody else, and I will sell it to you, or I might be actually buying from you. In some ways, it's very much like the energy market, in which you've got a lot of independent players coming together, and it's all about the settlement between the guy with the wind farm and the guy with the coal, and the consumer basically watching his television.
What sort of areas will they be billing on with cloud? Can you give me some examples of how you would bill for cloud services?
So from the technological point of view, you really need to bill for the value. Right. You have to think about, well, I'm a CIO, and I'm going to buy services. What are they worth to me from the point of view of my business, not worth to me from the point of IT? So you can't necessarily say, I'll sell you CPU, I'll sell you disk. You may have to say, I will sell you the capability of having a SaaS offer on top of the cloud, a software service. So one of the complications in the model is now, if I'm a cloud service provider, or I'm a communication service provider with a cloud, I'm going to encourage software vendors to come onto my cloud. And I say, you sell your cloud services, your software services, to whomever you want. But I'm going to charge you whenever one of your customers comes onto your platform. Let's say I'm selling to a company that does CAD/CAM. and they're selling to an architecture firm. So the architecture firm goes, I'm going to do a structural analysis of the biggest skyscraper in Frankfurt. And they use a ton of CPU. And this poor guy that's selling CAD/CAM, all of a sudden he gets a huge bill. And he has not billed the architecture firm for the huge amount of CPU he's consuming in the cloud. So the cloud service provider has to say to the CAD/CAM guy, what I'll do for you is I'll provide billing information to you so you can bill your guy. Right. And so when you have a new customer, you put them on your platform, and you have to tell me about your new customer on my platform, because I'm going to have your customer, even though he's not my customer, he's going to be on my platform. And so it gets quite complicated.
It seems to me that no matter how hard we try, billing always ends up being complicated.
Billing is there to translate the complication into something that somebody's willing to pay for.
And the value.
And express the value as well.
Doug, it's always a pleasure catching up because you give me the latest news in what's happening in the billing world. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.